Hey, welcome everybody to Wednesday night at the crib. Sort of an exciting show. We're going to talk about new TLCs, a little post game on the Bacon event, and Kixai has been so kind in the next in about 15 minutes to be having a Q&A on Discord, which will take a little live look-ins and discuss some of the answers that they're going to provide associated with the Refactor Tier 8 and whatnot with Golden Doodle and the GDs, the game developers. So sounds like fun. George should be here momentarily, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce everybody from left to right. Dr. Death.
Hello.
Padre Prince.
Oh, hail Kixai.
There we go. And this is Hefe. So let's go ahead and get on the slide so we can get quite a few of them out of the way prior to going over to our live look-ins. And let's go to the next slide, Dr. Death. All right, our bug fixes. I guess you can't get past one of the R&D objectives. There's many of them named advancing armaments, so I'm not sure which one that is. So I assume everybody here is already finished their R&D through level 31 or whatever. During the refactor, it appears that people that had fleets on the map, when they changed the health of their ships, of all our ships, if they weren't docked, it appeared that they were damaged. So I guess they fixed those for people. Anybody run into that issue? That's what I assume happened.
What was it again?
If you had your ships on the water when they went to the refactor update, they because they increased the armor on them,
they came back damaged. Yeah. No, I actually had pulled everything in because I was paranoid about the refactor.
Okay. And welcome, Father George.
Evening, everybody.
There's a couple of outstanding bugs. As some people have noticed, they pulled all the 40s from the FM, and the Mega Mayhem is also bugged. It appears that they have some player turrets or defense platforms inside of those targets, and when they made the refactor changes, they are either unkillable or likely to do you a lot of damage. So I would stay away from the Mega Mayhem unless you want to take a lot of damage at this point. Is that correctly encapsulating that?
As far as I know.
Okay. Alrighty. Any other bug fixes that or outstanding bugs that are new that we should talk about?
Well, I had an interesting one. My base locked up for right after refactor. My base locked up for almost a day. Right after refactor, I got hit, and it would not let my base repair.
I've been having a lot of those. What was it, the 5002 errors? I've been getting a lot of SOSs since the refactor. I mean, tons.
Huh. I haven't had a single one of those. I had my ships glitch out of my base, but that's about the only. But that's an ongoing issue from before, so I don't see that as something related to refactor. Just being not fixed.
Alrighty, we have another VXP weekend coming up. 2 days. I'm not sure what this is for. Proto Apollos. Or
I haven't built them. I'm not gonna build them. I just don't care with those.
I've got one. I don't know where it came from. I think they gave it to me.
Oh, you know what I bet it is? It's because they did the refactor and they got all those tokens. I bet they're expecting a lot of people would, instead of just refitting, built a bunch of stuff out. That might be what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
It would have been a good time to do it. I was expecting you not to be able to build ships, but just do refits on them. So.
But you know what, though, I do see this. I do see this as a good thing for the non-coiners out there, because I've got a couple people in my alliance that still don't have their raid fleet completely scold because they hit a target, slow repair overnight, hit a target. They're lucky if they can get 3 or 4 each VXP weekend. I got a couple of players that ain't fully scold yet, so this will get them there for before raid starts. So I see this as a good thing for some of the player base.
Yeah, and you're going to be best off if you're going to rank ships this way, as opposed to using the titanium-based tokens, is to make sure that they're either concussive or explosive-based. Otherwise, you're just going to be taking a lot of suicide damage. So at least that's what I saw trying to level up my Proto Apollos. Even though I put some really cheap rockets on them, they still didn't appear. It still didn't appear like they were doing enough damage in order to get me the offensive part of that bonus from VXP weekend. So, all right. Unless we got anything else on VXP weekend, let's go on. All right, bringing home the bacon.
Animated again, huh?
Yeah, it's still animated. So, yeah, this is from the official slides that I got. Not saying where, but official. What did everybody? I guess what did everybody think about the event in a vacuum? Because I think we'll talk about it a little bit more as it is associated with the refactor and OP 11.5. I saw a lot of complaints about too much damage, but I really felt that the value, the points that you got was huge relative to the prizes that you were trying to get.
Yeah, the prizes were easily obtainable, I felt like. You didn't really need to. I mean, some people went a little overboard on getting points.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I'd like to give a shout out to 2 people that got way too many points for us. But, the points were reasonable. I only had like 280,000 out of everything I needed and then some. So it was definitely doable for everybody. The damage may have been high. I wouldn't know. I blitzed it.
Yeah. It was high, but the amount of points that you got, at least for me, for the damage, what like the big prizes were, you got 30K or 30. I forget was it 30K? Enough for the breacher and a weapon for just doing one set, and that was about 3 to 4 hours of damage for me to get like the main stuff, and then to do it again and do it, over a 5-day event. It really wasn't that bad unless you were going for the alliance points or the individual leaderboards, or you just wanted to continue to hit targets like you were used to in the raid.
Yeah, but this Hefe was perception. Yeah, we all know the points were good payout for what we were getting. It wasn't hard to win the prizes. The problem that Kickside did with this, and it's really what upset most of the player base, is it was raid targets with our raid fleet taking raid damage during normal game time play. And we had all the other factors there too. Relocate was shut off. You know what I mean? They just it was a bad. To the player base that was a raid. It was a 5-day long raid, and we didn't get half repair. I agree with everybody. The points to target payout was good. I was able to easily get all the prizes I wanted without having to spend a dime. No big deal, right? But it was the perception of that being a raid without the half repair is what burned the player base.
All right. So out of curiosity, though, how would it have been taken if we had half repair but half the points as well?
Well, then the player base would have probably complained about the seat time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There was a no-win for them because there's been a lot of complaints about, it takes too much time, it's too grindy, and they were still trying to.
But here's where the thing is: if they're going to plan events like this, then they need to either go way back and revamp, go back 2, 3, 4 years and pull a target and revamp it from that kind of raid series 3, 4 years ago. You know what I mean? So we're looking at a different target. It can be the same class, be the same damage. But they needed to put a different target in there, because if they put a different target in there, then it wouldn't have been the raid. You see what I mean?
Yeah, sort of like the Flying Dutchman.
Exactly.
That didn't feel as raid-like because it was a new target. And yeah, we get tons of. I mean, I'm not sure what year this started, but we're getting lots and lots of just target fatigue. We see the same target over and over again, so they're no longer that they're not challenging or enjoyable. It's the same thing again and again and again. Because we'll see these, in TLCs for the next, however long. They're not as big on creating new targets as they were years and years ago, and that's probably what turned a lot of people completely away from some of the PvE targets, because there's no challenge left in them. It's just them turning the dial of increasing the damage or decreasing the damage depending on where it is. But it's pretty much the same exact strategy in order to overcome the target. So, does that anybody agree or disagree, or should we go on?
I fully agree.
Okay. Let's if we're done on the bacon thing, let's talk about some of the prizes that are the interesting ones. So let's go to the next one. The Breacher Dreadnought, we saw an increase in the base build time for this haul, which is I didn't like. Because we keep on getting this thing, we go up a tier, so now we need to spend more time and more resources doing it, as opposed to keeping the maximum at some maximum cost and lowering everything else.
Originally when they had come out, and I know, when Price was still playing, he was harping on this a lot. When the tier system first came out, it was supposed to be the new tier took the old tier's numbers, and then the older stuff went down. And there should be some sort of static something, because this is the amount of resources are just, it's getting to the point with the same that we had the same issue with the deflection, and we had to do the refactor. I mean, drop some zeros, yeah. I mean, seriously, this is like, ouch. But between walls and the building these, and then this thing, when it hits, I mean, there's people that are like level 80s that they're just like saying, fuck it, I quit, because you go in with one of these things and you're wiping out their entire resource.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the resources I wanted to get to later.
Oh, okay.
Because resources is a whole issue that I'm finding to be, just an issue. I'm going to post as soon as they start taking questions. I got a question or a couple of questions I've already written out, but the first one deals with the fact that they haven't upgraded the base of the food chain in regards to resources in like 8 years, but they keep increasing everything else. The other thing, people might have used them more than I have, but the built-in countermeasures on this ship, it's actually 5 of these, not 1 of them. Is that what everybody's seeing?
Yeah, well, I haven't counted them, but yeah, it's definitely more than 1. They shoot down a fair amount. They're pretty good, except for the large inner void, with which, they don't shoot.
Yeah, that helps balance them. That helps balance them quite a bit, but I could see some strategies involved with that. And has anybody put anything that increased projectile speed on the, well, that's getting too much into the details, but that's what my first thought was, is putting something on that would increase projectile speed to make them more effective as having one sit back.
I'm not sure if specials affect the secondary. I haven't tested that, but someone had mentioned that they weren't, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not certain, because I do know that there was a very similar weapon on the Zelos, and the inherent accuracy bonus by having more than 1 Zelos was causing some issues. So I don't know if they changed those mechanics or not. You remember that, George, right?
He said he'd be in and out. So that may be a good question to ask later on if we get a chance for individuals.
Okay. Bill says the Q&A is starting now. Okay. Why don't let's Padre, would you mind sharing the Discord screen, and I'll put you on present, and we can go and see what they're saying, and if it's boring, we'll go back to Dr. Death with the slides.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Let me share. Can you guys see my screen or no?
We can. I'm not sure that it's a pig.
It's not weird. It's not weird at all. All right. There we go.
No, okay. There we go. Now we can see it. Okay. I'm not sure how. We'll see how I'm not sure if people can read this on YouTube. Let me know.
See if I can. I'll make it full screen.
There we go. That should be helpful.
I'll hide that I'm sharing this. And there we go.
Okay. Well, thank you. And it looks like it should be visible on YouTube. Yeah. Well, we'll see how boring it stays. But oh, so they're just letting Laredo talk. That's not going to be fun.
Well, it's Laredo gets to talk, or I see somebody else speaking there. So
yeah.
What do you
We're
bring
supposed
to
be letting Golden Doodle talk about his background, but I don't know that that's I don't know if that's something we want to deal with at this point. So is there any more thoughts while we're waiting for them to provide something of interest? Is there anything that you think about as far as the tier 8 in general, as far as the way that this is hanging out? And do you like the new breacher?
I'm mixed on it.
Okay.
I really wish they had waited just a little bit before releasing the tier 8. You know what I mean? Giving everybody a chance to get settled with the tier 7 and get through the refactor and then OP 11.5. You know what I mean? Before dropping tier 8 into the mix.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a beast.
Yeah, it is a beast. And the biggest issue I think a lot of people are having is, and it might make it easier for people to read, Padre, if click on those things where there's two little people in the upper right-hand corner, and that'll drop all that stuff off the right.
This right here? There we go.
Okay. Yeah, the biggest issue I saw was we've gotten the increase from 6 million to 40 million as far as the cargo hauling capacity of these ships, which is causing a huge amount of problems, as George was trying to bring up earlier, associated with people trying to get through this OP 11.5 and the refactor, getting the resources to take advantage of these tokens that expire on December 3rd.
Well, if you're, I tell you what, if it's getting to the point, if you're under a level 110, it's almost impossible to find one that ain't bubbled right now. I mean, they're just all being farmed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I did some experiments last night, trying to find ways around this for people, and I wasn't successful, because if you notice that if you hit targets and use the fleet management system and don't go into your base, when you finally go into your base, it could show this huge number that you brought in 1 billion resources, but you didn't actually bring them in at that time. Because I did some work with a base that had no resources in, or no Xinthium in it, and had them go out and hit targets and build up to a couple 100,000, but never entered the dock. Even though it showed that huge increase only when he entered the base, all of the resources collected by the ship, even though he hadn't personally looked at the base, were stealable.
Yep.
So it's I haven't found a good workaround. Hidden cache isn't really gonna, it's, maybe you can preserve like 70 million, 60 to 70 million in resources if you start putting that in a lot of places. But that's not really enough to do anything anymore. So
No.
I'm having a hard time finding something for, people that are having a hard time getting farm for resources. I have no.
Hefe, they've got to go back to playing old school. I mean, they're just gonna have to go back to playing old school. The best thing I can tell all these players that are getting farmed for their resources is so you wait, get your bubble. Once you get your bubble, that's when your timer starts. You got 36 hours. You go out, you do your things, collect your resources, build what you can. Right before your bubble drops, click on a fucking wall, hit build row, and just burn every bit of resources you can before your bubble drops. That way, when the attackers keep coming to your base and they ain't getting as much as they think they should be getting, they'll eventually move on. I mean, you're just gonna have to go back to old school pirating. That's what this has caused. You remember back in the day when we used to do this. We've been through this before in this game. This isn't anything new. This is a thing we've ran through in the past in this game, quite a bit actually.
Yeah. Well, I just asked a question related to resources that I had written up. We'll see if we get an answer. With the base of the resource food chain being cargo targets, has much thought gone into increasing resources? They
You want me to get it?
That basically the resources haven't been raised in 8 years that you get from the cargo. Well, at the same time, the cost of building everything has increased dramatically. And the new Omega weapon, if you were to hit the highest cargo, 75 elite cargos, you would need to open 317 of these in order to build it. And then the fact that they've increased, what we talked about earlier, the Tier 8 Conquerors, they've increased the cargo hauling capacities by 6 2/3 times over the Tier 7 Conquerors. So, yeah,
we got 2 questions in there right now that I'd like to see what's going on, because I put in we were told that the Tier 8 hulls would be more a mechanical upgrade rather than another leap in power. However, on its face, the new Tier 8 hull does not seem to be an incremental power increase. It just jumped.
Is that you?
But another,
wordy,
loquacious mute.
You
Yeah.
oxymoron. Look at me.
That seems
he's an oxymoron. Okay.
The Tier 7 content. How's this going to work going forward with Tier 8? So that was asked. Then Damnation asked something. Then Hefe asked that question about the resources, and they only touched the one in between.
apparently, Kix Saltwater. He addressed my question, so maybe make him out to a specific Kix member. We'll do better.
No, that was an easy one, because that's been a conversation topic for last week, because I've been arguing with a certain lady something in somebody's alliance that's on the panel that keeps on telling everyone that no, CM specials don't affect the breacher countermeasures, and I'm like,
well, they do.
Yes, they do. It's just like the Zealous. But
so you can't.
What do I know?
See in the range of them, depending on what you put on there. They said reload was already maxed out, so that's helpful to know.
Yeah, it's at 0.2 already. It says it on the print. Read the print.
Yeah.
Read the print.
You know what? There are a lot of print. So
you've been gone for a long time. I got to give you shit.
It's been 2 months. So the encyclopedia / spreadsheet that you posted, I have been referencing it.
There's some. So some of those values are doubled as display values, and some of them are actual values instead of display values. So you just got to kind of watch it a little bit. I think when they made the database, they were doing it as fast as possible. So I think they brought some over that were game values and some that were actual values. Does that make sense?
Say that one more time.
So on that spreadsheet that I had posted, some of the values are actual values, so you have to double them going into the game, and some of them are display values, which is twice what the actual value is. I think they were
Oh,
just
the GG
running
Scargy
through.
one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there were some confusing things in that one. Yeah, I'm not sure that we're going to be able to follow this on the way this is going down.
Yeah, it's pretty hodgepodge. I mean, you got like I don't know how many people. Let's pull it back up here for a second. There are, I'd say easily 100, 150 people in here, maybe more.
Yeah.
And they are all asking questions as much as they can. If anybody is watching the YouTube and not watching this, or watching this through the YouTube and they have a question, they could post it up and we could transfer it over here, and maybe make them crib questions. And I don't know if that would garner any more significance for them, but maybe having it. This is a question from a bunch of people, like we're all interested to know. We may get a better response.
Well, Nigel wants you to, because since they answer you, for you to ask all the questions. But yeah.
Well, I've got my guy. Apparently, my guy is a saltwater fella. I asked.
Yeah, Saltwater's a cool guy. Yeah.
They said, "Don't worry, I'm assigning people to answer your questions," and I responded, "Which one of you is assigned to answer my questions?" No one. They didn't tell me who, but Saltwater wins by default because he answered. So you're my guy, Saltwater.
Yeah, Saltwater was in charge of the OP11 upgrades. That's his role. The guy in charge of the refactor is he took ill before this, probably fearing what it's going to look like.
Well, I mean, that was a big undertaking. In all honesty, I mean, they've made some changes. I still think like we've been saying forever, deflection-based environments are, it's as simple as yes, no. You're either killing them, and they've tried to compensate with large armor point numbers to kind of take that down. But at the same time, I mean, I think they've done okay on a lot of things. I think there's still room for improvement, more refactoring. But it was a big undertaking. I don't know if that's the route I would have taken it, but hey, kudos.
Yeah, since they answer you, why don't you ask them when do they plan, or do they plan to change the PvP stat blocks to reflect this is a deflection environment instead of a resistance environment? Because what they show on the stat blocks in PvP is useless. The total damage a weapon does, not per salvo or anything of that nature. I find it sort of useless. All the stat blocks that we have requiring us to also go out and do our own math and to account for the tier 8 bonuses or fire supports. And there's nowhere that they admit that stuff is not included into your totals. So it's the stat blocks needed to be fixed before they did the refactor, in my opinion. But that's just me.
Hold on, I got to address it too. What was his name?
Saltwater. Kixeye Saltwater.
Well, while he's posting up that question, Hefe, remember last week I brought up the fact that the allied turret defense bonus wasn't working in the bases.
Okay.
So I sent in a ticket, or I didn't. So I talked to that lady on the Discord. What's her name? Oh well, it's one of the game designers. I took and talked to her, and I got a response back on that. The allied turret defense bonus for the allies that you can get from doing the defenders tab is only effective at this time now for tier 6 and below tech that comes into your base.
They've already said that they're looking at that. That's rolling out later on.
Yeah, they said they're gonna try and work it out to where it's even across the board for all tiers. But I'm just letting people know at this time that turret defense bonus will not protect your base at all against anything tier 7 or above that comes in.
Okay. Are you guys still hearing me?
I
Yeah.
am, but only when you're talking.
Okay. All right. Wasn't sure.
Rummy.
Oh my goodness! Look at all the love you got of that, George.
What'd you
That
get?
one,
Oh,
that one, I'm going to
whoa.
tell you right now, is a battle that I've been fighting for about 3 months.
I can't see
That
because I've
would be
still got my
nice.
thing up. What'd you post, George?
He wanted banking, automatic banking, sort of like titanium.
Yeah. For salvage and map resources. I
Yeah.
already know the answer. I already know what the idea is. I don't know that I am a fan of either at the moment, but I'm trying to. If I can't get map resources to bank automatically, I'm hoping at least they'll do the salvages. And I am getting okay.
Because then you could just send a.
Ooh, okay. So the first question that I asked is actually getting vetted for an answer. Because I asked, I guess they expected easier, like not as in depth or specific, I guess, questions. Because that went a little bit more specific right off the bat. And I think Golden Doodle was like, guys, sorry, dude. I didn't mean to do that. That's the biggest one that I've heard from most players, because they're just very frustrated with the tier 8.
Okay, they're calling out. Okay, Wrong Thinker is drafting response to Nitribuso. Saltwater is responding to Loquacious, and Robot is responding to Hefe.
Yep.
Wait a minute.
They're vote for both.
Hey, listen, F-Bomb. Why are you taking my dedicated Kixeye representative now? Asshole.
I've been
not good
chatting
at
with
sharing.
them. I've been
not good
chatting
at
with them for
sharing
the
at all.
last half hour. Tough.
Well,
I already have it.
exactly. Then back off. That's my guy. Saltwater. Are you breaking up with me?
All right, I'm gonna go grab a beer, and hopefully they answer in the meantime. But
Let's
yeah.
keep throwing questions at him.
Well, I think
I
they're
do.
asking for a
That would be
break
great,
right now.
because honestly, getting resources is the bane of my existence. Not so much now, because I'm just what's that word when you force yourself on? I'm raping everyone for their resources currently. So there's that. I hope my wife puts the pizza in the oven. I'm busy drinking scotch and talking about battle pirates. Like Mystery Science Theater 200 over here. Oh, you know what I want to know?
What's that?
When is CTCO3 going to come out? And why don't they release it while we still have stupid tokens to refit the 86 tier 7 hulls that we have? Because releasing it afterwards and making me refit every one of those ships to make them more viable, or viable, whatever, is going to be pretty frustrating for me.
But that's what they're going to do. You know that. That won't come out before them tokens are pulled.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there's no event there's no more events they can run before raid now. So the earliest we'll see it's raid, and the tokens are going to be gone before raid.
Someone tell Lady Jessica that the armor was part of the refactor. They're not changing any of the other armors. I mean, they said that earlier. Oh, no rogue crew changes before the end of December. That's interesting. Maybe we should have started with. I don't know. I know that they were messing with it, because when we saw it in the test server, there was a couple other ones in there, so they were playing in there. I just don't know if they were just testing stuff or what. But that they said that there's nothing going to be coming out. Where did he say it? before the end of December kind of hints that there is one coming. Oh, we have the Breacher Dreadnought exists in a weird place right now since it's the only Tier 8 PvP hull available. It is definitely the least mechanically oriented of the planned Tier 8 content, the most all-arounder. We specifically chose the Breacher because it would exist as the singular Tier 8 PvP hull for a short while and wanted something that wasn't underwhelming. It's worth noting that the Breacher is being stopped in the live game and was stopped with playtesting prior to being sent live. It's strong but not unstoppable. It will remain strong as time goes on, but will be counterbalanced by new tech. But see, it makes everything binary again.
Yeah. We're going right back to where we were in, 6 months down the road, we'll be back to where they're going to be screaming they have to do refactor again. I'm not really seeing the light at the end of the tunnel on this one.
Man. Maybe they will release it before, but I doubt it.
Okay, have you guys been reading the responses we're getting?
Some of them at Hefe.
Okay.
Tier 7 as they still have a place in the game. Well, yeah, they do as support ships in my base, just not for hitting bases.
And also, Robot responded, regarding resources, I do know the players are having issues with gathering resources recently. I want to take a... Whoops. I moved. I want to take a pass at the ways players earn resources in the short term and long term. We brainstormed some long-term solutions as well as some short-term ones. Short answer is yes, we'd like to cut down on the amount of time you spend gathering basic resources. Okay.
Oh,
and go ahead.
I was gonna read what Golden Doodle wrote back to you for the PvP tech because it kind of touches on the other stuff. He just said that the Tier 7 PvP tech still has a place in the game, and we plan to continue to re-release the Tier 7 content. The goal of the Tier 7 tokens was to reduce the initial refit times post-refactor and not make it permanently free for those who still have tokens weeks to months after the refactor. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't say to leave it open forever, but longer, because a lot of people are getting farmed for resources, or the fact that like I got hit and somebody took out my my portal, like it's like 10 hours to repair stuff, even if you have the resources. And so it's like it feels short. That's why the original idea that I had was to provide players with a certain amount of bubble tokens to allow them to freely use these tokens in some way, as opposed to slapping it on top of OP 11.5, the Bacon event, and allow them to efficiently use them. Because right now it's tough, especially for players that don't have like the some of the more premium old campaigns available to give them resources. If they're forced to be, going out there hitting cargoes, their life is hell. Those tokens are more like a boon than anything. They're like, oh, I have all this, free build time, but I can't get the resources to do it. So I'm just asking for an extension, not for, unless something is going to get released, because that ends on a Sunday. So I'm just wondering if we're going to see, let me see, that's December 3rd. So the raid's going to start. So yeah, the assumption that we talked about earlier is I assume that CTCO3 will come out at that point in time. And maybe that's why that deadline was so close. So, should I ask about the Proto Apollo?
Do it.
Okay.
What is Skull Hunter talking about? Why isn't coin purchased amount linked to your database in a way that disables people from abusing your platform?
People buying too many coins?
I have no. I think he's talking about coin generators. I don't know that you can actually still do that anymore. You did it, did you?
I think I answered your question in the format of an emoji with a poop.
Mhm.
Do we have any more slides while they're trying to answer all this crap, or?
Well,
Y'all can go over some slides, and I'll just keep this up, and people can kind of flip back and forth. If something comes up, I'll interject.
okay, because I'm also thinking this is a good historical thing, so people that missed this Q&A can go back and watch the show and read what was written.
Yeah.
You can always search in Discord. It actually has a decent search thing. I don't see an answer to the automatic.
I didn't get any of my boo left me. I need a new boo. He's not.
Saltwater? He's still answering questions.
You got Wrong Thinker answering your question,
Oh, me? How do you know this?
Because Chris just posted.
Oh, is that the one I asked you to write?
Yeah, I don't see anything. I'm going, no plans for slowing down activities.
Right there at the very bottom. Kickside Chris.
Wrong Thinker is. I'm not sure I like his shirts. I guess he could be my boo for a little while.
Okay.
I give him crap about his
They're
shirts
probably
all the
thinking
time.
that the BP Live is probably more enjoyable after this.
What he should do
Yeah,
is
the only thing that Wrong Thinker needs to work out is tie shirt combinations to do the Kickside Live, and he's done stunningly so far. So maybe they'll go back to the Kickside Live thing as opposed to doing this. Who knows? Okay. Okay. He responded. We're looking at better ways to communicate what the heck is going on within stat blocks and so forth. Your suggestion is a good one.
Well, that's just one. I mean, there's a lot of other. I don't know. That would be a helpful one for damage, though, because then I wouldn't have to go there and be like, all right, so let me build this ship and take off all the weapons except for one. All right, cool. And then what about the res battery? We got to add that in. What about how many times is it activated? This, that, and the other.
Oh, I can tell you that.
Well, I mean, I can figure it out too, but I'm just saying I have to sit down and do it. Or it'd be nice if if there was like a click button where it said res capacitor active or not active, and you could see the different damages in there.
Oh, I see, in like the shipbuilder and stuff.
Yeah. So you could say, okay, is it affected by, friendly or is it,
You lazy motherfucker. You don't want to do the math. I see. I see how it is.
I don't mind doing the math. I've been doing it for years, but I'm just saying there's a lot of fucking morons over here.
Yeah.
That's such a politic way of stating that one.
Yeah. He's running for office soon.
Didn't Larry do that one time on the blog?
Here's
Like you guys are a
question
bunch of idiots or something like that.
Oh yeah, you should have seen our views go this downhill.
Oh yeah, I remember.
There was a raid where like, if you guys are complaining about this, you're not very good at this game.
Yeah, I remember.
Look, I'm not here to be popular, clearly. But how many times do you spreadsheet making assholes get asked, hey, is this going to do damage? What's the damage on this? Like, how many times do you get PMs or messages regarding, damage equations or things like that? Wouldn't it be nice if it was just time? Wouldn't it be nice if it was just, and I'm not saying that, the people that I speak with are morons, but I'm just judging based on the, general population. A lot of people don't have a good understanding of the math of this game, even though it's not entirely complicated. Sometimes it's convoluted in the way it's described, but it would be nice for them to have stat blocks that are representative of what is actually going on and could even address some of the variables that you can put on with different tech.
Yeah. That,
So-
that was the basis of the why I asked you.
Yeah.
Had you asked that question, it's like, okay, these stat blocks are built for a resistant-based environment, and you haven't changed them in years since we've gone over this. You know, because we started this with the Revenge, and how long has that been useless? You know, tier 5. So right, wasn't that tier 5 or tier 5.5?
Golden
Reed,
Doodle posted up a
banking-
thing saying that the team's going to publish some more tier 7 loadouts and stuff.
So just suggested builds.
Yeah, that's been so. Okay, so the banking resources automatically, literally that's been suggested. And we're looking into ways to make it happen. Actually,
I mean, they already do it with other resources.
They can do it.
Why,
They did
why
it with
would
the bounty.
I just find it funny because it's been suggested by me.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
the one
but-
digging
well,
their heads
that's
into the
part
door
of
with it.
But also, the other issue was they did it with general resources in the last bounty.
Did they?
Yes,
Oh, from
where
basics.
you were
That's
getting
right.
like a small percentage. You were getting a small percentage put in your ships, and the rest of it was getting wired to your account and somewhere in some island that we're not going to talk about.
Yeah.
I want
So
to
they
hit
have
that base. There's a base somewhere that's so full of res you can never drain it.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Sort of like they could clutter the map with more your opponent bases that are loaded up with res.
No, you know what they need to do? They just need to bring back mines.
Yep, you could sit on that mine for
Sit
12
on the mine
hours
for 42
I've
years.
filled up.
I hope you fill at the same rate as they used to, so it only takes.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Sit there for 24 hours.
And that would bring back fleet versus fleet.
Well, yeah.
So
except you
siege
can't
cycle
snipe
is
them.
now.
You can't snipe them.
Oh, so look, siege cycle is only 3 months. Remember how they said they were going back to 4 months? They're not. Siege cycle is 3 months, and auto for reasonable damage is a gray area. Blah blah. So we have 2 hulls again. Oh, come on.
Didn't they learn their lesson? I mean, I've built 2 and refit 2, and as long as they give the tokens, it's not awful. It really depends on the amount of bonus they give for set completion right at the start. That's the part that had me upset. And I'm glad I made the right decision with the bat ray.
Yeah, but that's the thing, isn't it? It's a gamble.
Yeah, because they gave you some sort of like weird video out of like, what did we talked about this at one point. What did we learn from that video of pick your playing style? I'm like, none of the special abilities were shown. It was an awful video. It didn't display anything about what was special about each one, except for they were blowing stuff up and dying and whatnot. There was nothing telling about them. And I actually think that after I have both the Razor Tail and the Bat Ray, the Razor Tail is harder to drive.
Really?
Yeah.
I see. I like so for. I don't know if it's harder to drive. I have more fun driving the Razor Tails.
I do.
The Bat Rays are more of precision driving and stuff, and
I don't think so.
No,
it's like driving. Yeah. It's like driving my subs again, and I burnt out on that a lot. So,
I would completely disagree with you on that, because it's like with the Razor Tails, you need to make sure you're avoiding everything while keeping your keeping those Nighthawks within your ring, while all these all the shit getting fired from these what are they called?
That's
the smart torpedoes.
Well, that's not how I drive those things at all.
God!
Yeah, you auto them, but yeah.
No.
If you're driving them,
when I'm talking about when I'm driving them. Don't always assume. I'll say auto if I'm autoing them. I have more fun driving the Razor Tails, and I don't drive them anywhere like that at all. It's a free for all, like go and smash shit up.
Yeah,
you got
complete blitz.
Yeah, well, not complete blitz. I mean, you're not driving right into the things, but I mean, you don't have to do like there's no precision kiting like there is with the Bat Ray. Whereas with that one, I mean, I just go in and have some damn fun and blast shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
please
thing I
make
don't like about
mountain
the mat
tiles,
ray is that
'cause
little bitty
then-
circle trying to hold it over a damn sub.
Yeah. Cargo on the Tier 8 hull is not currently under review. Dang it. We'd rather find a way to solve for resource starvation. I just dictated for saltwater. Saltwater's answering through Chris. Awesome. This is fun. I thought that they would be overwhelmed with the as dynamic of a platform as this is.
There's not that many people
Asking questions. Yeah. I don't know why. I mean, there's a ton of people
28-day
on.
bubble.
There's a ton of people on. It's just they're not asking questions. I don't know if it's the same with, like when we do the shows on Saturday, people are like, I don't know why they'd be afraid to ask questions, or I mean, just get in there and ask.
Yeah, I don't know either. Why did reload times on turrets get such a large nerf?
How are reload times nerfed?
I didn't see that. I did see that the combat speed on everything, combat speed nerfs got nerfed.
More land tiles.
Or debuffed. The combat speed debuffs got massively, except for the glacial. More land tiles, whatever.
I don't know if that means more land tiles as in we're getting more tiles to put down. I think that means that
That's a request. That's Alpha Wolf, right?
No. Saltwater answered earlier.
The mountain tiles.
Including, potentially the ability for you to have mountain tiles, heavy directional turrets like you will see in Tier 8 siege targets, things like that. That's interesting.
Wonder if you can shoot over a mountain tile or just can't shoot through it.
I don't know, but Skull Hunter's probably about to get his ass booted.
Oh, because he's being a smartass.
Well, he'll get sent to the quiet room. But
what's this level up that I got here? Pirate training.
Oh, that means that you progress from a guppy, or you might be a guppy now.
I already leveled up once. I don't know how that happens, but
yeah,
I don't have permission to view them. Fuck, how do I get back there?
General chat.
Here we go.
There we go.
Sorry about that, everybody. All right, new messages since we left. Cool. All right, that's easy. Mountain and turrets. Mountain tiles.
And one directional turrets, omnidirectional turrets, like they don't switch to where the ship is,
one way.
Yeah.
So if you have a long straight channel, you put one of those shooting down it.
Yeah. I can see some interest in that, personally.
Sort of like the breacher.
What missing alloys do we have other than the corrosive ones?
Just the CTCO3. They need to put that out before. I feel like it'd be shit if they put it out right after the tokens went away.
Personally, I would like to see all the missing alloys be brought into the game, not just corrosive and ballistic. We have all the ballistic ones. What am I missing?
No, I think that's it.
It's just the corrosive one. I don't know about what. I don't know what this all is.
Well, maybe he's just saying all because I don't know, or she.
Unless some of the ones like the D6U, some of the old ones that I don't think they plan to move forward with. Some of the ones that covered 3 types as opposed to 2 types.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna.
Yeah, that's my only thought on that one.
Well, most of them are down to 2 types now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're saying you
think
they
guess
have
what else they
one
were looking for.
Like a super strong 1.
Yeah, but you have those. Well, that's the other big thing. What do you guys think about the fact that the Tier 8 weapons don't at this point appear to add any deflection by themselves? Well, so weapons are no longer based in defense.
Yeah, we discussed that last show. That was by design because of the increase in deflection that the base hulls have.
Yeah. Padre wasn't on though. I was seeing what he thought about it.
Oh.
It didn't really bother me. I mean, I saw it pretty much for what you guys are saying is that the hull itself inherently has more deflection. So if you were to add more deflections to it, but you can still add the old weapons. Not that they'd be overwhelmingly effective, but you can still add some old weapons. But even if you were to take a breacher and get it to the most possible, ballistic deflection that you can get and still make it viable to go in a base, you still can't stop the new weapons from hurting you.
Yeah.
So,
but I think a lot of people were complaining the fact that they couldn't put all their weapons on and whatnot. So this allows for fine tuning, and it's probably going to fade away. Because it was sort of complicated, like, half your weapons are offensive and then the other half are defensive. And then you got your armors and whatnot. So I can sort of see it.
You've only got room for 6, at least on the first.
Well, I'm saying with the tier 7s as far as,
Yeah. They always say that, though. They say, at Loquacious Mute. With regards to base hitting being binary at the moment, it is a side effect of the breacher being the first tier 8 hole through the door. Similar to the other questions around it, it will mellow out as more tier 8 comes online and more tier 7 gap fillers are made available for certain problems. So basically they're saying, just hold tight, it'll get better. I've never heard that kind of an answer before.
Weren't we supposed to be holding tight because Refactor was going to make it better?
Yeah, I think that's what we were waiting on. Now we're waiting on something else. Come on, get with it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's when we see a tier 8 defender, I hope it is a PvE event.
Oh, now you know they're going to put the defender in bounty.
Yeah. Even though we've been bitching for a long time that they don't understand the player base.
Yeah, because the format was. Well, I don't know. I think I missed the last bounty? Did they change the format at all, or is it still bank as much?
Well, no, it's not a matter of the format. It's a matter of everybody in the game has a base that has to be defended. And your PvEers, players that don't do PvP, still have their base and they still want to defend it so they don't lose their build times, their resources, whatever. You know what I mean? And if you put your defense hole, which they need in the bounty event, you're forcing a player that doesn't want to do player versus player to do it if they want to be able to keep their base current in the game. And really, that's not a good move when there is a much larger percentage right now in the game of players that do PvE than there are players that like the PvP. Did I lose you guys?
I'm here. I'm throwing a pizza in the oven, but I'm still here and listening.
I thought you said your wife was going to do that.
Apparently not.
I'm guessing Hefe and George ran off, huh?
They're quiet, so they must not be here.
Yep.
All right. Pizza's in the oven. Hey, on a side note, my Doberman is terrified of my new robot vacuum cleaner, whom I've named Sexbot 2000. There's nothing funnier than watching a 100-pound dog try and jump over a robot and crash into furniture.
Well, since I'm still locked on this present because Hefe said he was going to be flipping back over the slides, I can't see what's going on Discord.
Is it not still sharing on my end?
Well, no, because no, I'm still on my sharing for the. I'm going to drop this.
Yeah, if you can drop sharing on that since we're not actually looking at the slides. I think you'll be fine.
There we go. Oh my goodness. That's some small. I can't read that. I'm an old man.
You got it on full screen?
I'll just go over to Discord. I can read Discord.
Okie dokie, Smokey. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I haven't been back playing long enough to have a plethora of intelligent questions yet. You know, for me, it's one of those things where I've only really been back about a week or two. So, I don't know. I'm still figuring out what's going on.
Okay, so they still intend to trickle the tier 8 content out regularly, but it shouldn't take as long as tier 7 did to get it all out. So in other words, it's just going to be swings again all this next year because, you know, we're going to get one thing and then get the counter the next week.
Well, I would hope tier 8 content comes out faster, considering all the tier 7 shit isn't even out yet. I mean, they still have an armor that's not released.
Right, but I'm saying that Kickside Chris, he just posted that response. We intend to trickle the tier 8 content out regularly, but it shouldn't take as long as tier 7 did. And they're saying they had to rush the tier 7 out because of Refactor, even though we've been going a year trying to get this content.
What's he mean? The great? He says, "Is there any truth to the rumor that the Bat Ray was named after the greatest mod of all time?"
I have no idea.
Ray? CM Ray.
Oh, well, they're coming to an end.
Oh, what?
Yep, they just said they're not taking any more questions.
Oh wow. I thought it was I think they pulled it off pretty well though. As far as
that last question asked about the tier 8 content, though, that scares me. Two parts to that answer totally scares me. One, that they had to rush the tier 7 content. We've been dragging the tier 7 content for a year, and you know, it still ain't got it all. And they're saying that was rushed, and they're saying that they're going to do the tier 8 content in a trickle also, but it shouldn't take as long as the tier 7. So in other words, we're still going to be right back to where we were all year last year with the swings.
well, not that's. I think they were trying to get rid of the swings with the refactor, but the issue with the tier 7 was that they still haven't released it all. I mean, the fact that we didn't have a complete toolbox until it was over.
Right, but what I'm saying is they consider the release of the tier 7 content rushed because of Refactor. So in other words, they planned it to take longer than this for us to get all the tier 7 content.
I think that thing was a cluster from the beginning. From the first couple of months on, I just think they didn't know what they were doing and how to release this stuff to make the game playable, which was evident in how unplayable the game was for how many months out of the year? I'd say at least 6-7 months out of the year. The game was terrible, ruined.
And sometimes there was 4-month spans within that period of time. Yeah.
So.
Well, they said that they're not taking any more questions, so.
Okay. Well, let me go back to you. Well, Laredo says, well, nothing. This will happen again at a later date. And Templar is working on some sort of transcript, or, people are listening. We got the whole thing recorded with, you could put us on mute. You can put us on mute and watch it stream across, people in your alliance or people you like or potentially people you dislike, to make them read through all of it. But it's there.
Yeah. Because Cuttlefish was asking if it was going to be a transcript. I told him we were live streaming on the crib, so you can watch it there. If you want to give, is there a link to the YouTube? And I can post it in here.
Yeah, I put it in the community media. If you go down, so it's there if people want to see it. But if people want to read, read what happened, or watch what happened, it's there.
All right.
Okay, build times will not be coming down. Siege cycle halls. Okay.
What did it say?
What?
What did it say about the build times?
No, build times will not be coming down for the siege cycle halls. They will not be coming down. But like I said earlier, I didn't use any coins. I didn't even do a lot of the TLCs, but I was able to build both fleets. I didn't have them available all the time, but I was able to build both fleets to a fairly high level. Just using my regular thing, and I didn't even bother to do those Mana Core TLCs, which I thought were awful. Just too much damage, and I hate doing 7 encounters inside of an hour. So
I hate doing 1 encounter inside of a month.
Well, if it's let's talk about that. If it was like a new interesting target, would you find it interesting or no?
If they could build an interesting target.
Yeah. I mean, if they, I think a lot of this stuff has gotten ruined by the community. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Like the community is doing a bad thing, but people putting out videos on how to do something.
Well, it's not that the target isn't interesting. It might be interesting if you had to do it like 10 times. Yeah. But when you continually have to do the same thing over and over 100, 150 times, it gets monotonous. And there's no way around that unless they have a larger series of targets that you have to work your way through for points. Like maybe do 30 targets and each one's different, and you work your way through them to finish the raid. You can get all your points, you can start over and then do the first 10 if that's all you can do, but you get less points, but you get more points as you go. So say someone that's willing to, I don't know, that would be an interesting way of doing it, just off the top of my head.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, even not just the raid, but just general target fatigue, like I brought up earlier, was the fact that we keep on seeing the same targets, in the TLCs, in the map. It's like we got the same targets for, a year. And it's like, at that point,
I agree with you.
make them auditable. If you have a good build, make them auditable.
Yeah, I fully agree with you because when the Halloween event came out, that was a different target. I knew I was never going to see that target again. I had fun with it. Played with it for the weekend. It was a great little target. Had some fun. Then it was gone.
Yeah, yeah. If you had you did it with bat rays, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the people with razor tails found it really boring because it became just, driving it was not that interesting because you weren't really kiting it in the same way. So it was a different sort of target for them. But yeah.
But I mean, it was a different target. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was
And we
something
knew it wasn't something we were going to see again. So it wasn't something to get that really the target fatigue on that one didn't really kick in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, people did complain about it, but yeah, I did, I did like it from that perspective, and especially since I was using the bat rays, so it was a little bit of a different approach. But well, let's just some parting words on this before we switch back over to the slides. I was impressed by how effectively they answered all our questions. Not everybody's questions, but they did a good job of assigning questions, getting answers out, even if they were, generic answers. They put some thought into it as far as what they did. I think there was a lot learned through this, and I'm gonna have to rewatch, some of their answers on stuff, and maybe call them out on it later when these things don't come to fruition. But let's Kickside Chris is probably posting something, some parting words. Then we'll go over and try and finish up the slides and go from there. And we'll do that. And wow, having a ton of people appear to be messaging me. Let's see if what's yeah, there's an example from one of the things is I miss was that oh no, never mind. That's never mind. That's a private message. Okay.
No, that's from my mom. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't talk. The picture was a little stunning at the beginning, so yeah.
Are you talking about the pork turkey? The
Yes,
perky?
well,
I don't know what you call that thing.
turducken?
Oh no,
I
those
don't
are
know.
delicious.
Oh, you're the your sexy pig or whatever you want to call it. So I'm gonna take you off of present and go to Dr. Death with the slides.
All right, I'll close
And
this
we
down.
can talk about the Arbalest 2 versus the Arbalest 2 versus the scattergun. Who has the most experience with it? My experience with a partially built Breacher Dreadnought was that with the scatterguns, I had a hard time killing buildings, but I'm sort of building this as part of my base guard. So I have assault battery on it, but I don't have siege targeting on it because I'm more planning on capitalizing on the additional damage that would go to ships at that point, and putting that one in my guard for a period of time. Does anybody have much experience with the Arbalest 2 Electric Boogaloo?
I've been using it. It does put out a lot of damage. New walls are pretty much no match for it. It goes right through them like butter.
Yeah, because with it not having any decay on it, it is a nasty weapon.
Yeah, so don't put your ships in a row, or even the Pierce will kill ships behind other ships. One guy I hit with a Hope. He had a Hope all jacked up behind another ship. I just inched up on the first ship and killed both at the same time. So the Pierce range is pretty awesome on it.
Yeah, the 75 Pierce range is impressive. You know, that's basically 3 land tiles. So yeah, so basically it hits the walls. It doesn't kill the walls, but it just keeps on going through them. It just creates little baby holes in the walls, right? So to speak.
Yeah, you can barely even see a wall. The walls don't even really go down. So
yeah. So it's ineffective of anything that's within 75. So yeah, that could create some funky base builds. But hitting bases as far as taking out buildings, this would be your preference over the scattergun?
The scattergun still can do a pretty decent job on buildings. What it does not excel at is walls. If someone has an upgraded wall, in order to get your damage up to where you're really killing ships, you have to kind of forego a lot of extra structure damage. And in doing so, you might as well be just throwing rocks at a stone wall.
Yeah, you'll time out before you get through a wall.
Because they just barely pick away at it. So the wall damage is very low on the scattergun.
Okay.
This is really your only option for going through new walls with new tech.
Okay. All right. Should we move on to the next one?
I'm for it.
All right, let's do it. All right, the raised scattergun, which we've already pretty much talked about. So I think we've talked about this one as well.
And the raise works pretty good on other hulls too. So, I've been seeing it on like the Witch Doctor. Some people are getting it. You can't fit as many, but it still goes on there. So.
Yeah, it doesn't go on your defenders, so.
Yeah, but the Conqueror hulls do more damage anyway, so they're better off. They're better suited for it.
Yeah, I just get a little annoyed with the fact that they seem to keep on making the Conquerors more efficient defense hulls than the defenders.
Yeah, that is very true.
And it's like, okay, why? Why haven't they balanced this out correctly? I don't know. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I had somebody hit my base. That I don't think they realized what this did, and just kept on there trying to snipe stuff, and just sitting in the cloud. And I found that amusing because he was sitting there not firing, just sitting in the cloud and just getting owned at that point in time. And I found it amusing because basically, when it fires, it creates basically a field with a range of 20 that doesn't allow your ship to fire, and it's interesting. It doesn't do as much damage as I thought it would. I guess it has a pretty good splash fall off. Anybody else's experience with that one? Besides the 900 million resources?
I haven't even put it on because of the resource strain.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that is an expensive loadout.
Yeah. It's 3.6 million or billion resources to put it on. I put mine on, but yeah, it's an interesting weapon. It was the more expensive one in there. Once you get the resources around, I would recommend putting it on because it has some secondary effects, and with the increases in power that your ships get or your OP gets at this point, it's not preventing you from putting other specials on there like it was previously. So, and you can build it with base parts. So, right. Should we move on? All right. We've seen this target before. The recommendation is a wing for Wingman, which gives you 3-day tokens. You get 6 through this, but you only have a max of 5. The recommendation is 2 icebreaker fleets. You can do it fairly easily. We've seen this as far as one of the mana core targets. You could do it with 1 Inferno Dragon, especially if you clear out the all the ships. There's no thermal in here. There is some sonar, so don't run over the ships with your Fangtooth. But it's less than an hour with Inferno Dragons and the Fangtooth to take out the ships to get this, and basically you're getting 18 days of Bat Ray tokens or 18 days of Razortail tokens. It's not that hard to do. You are also getting shard drops for both. If you have somebody that even just sits in the corner and does no damage, you're getting shard drops for the 2 the Nailhead and the Thundering Storm or whatever it's called, and the 2 original skins that came in the first one, the Royal skins, which are blue and yellow skins. I'm not sure, unless you help a lot of people, I'm not sure how you get those skins. You got to help a lot of people because there's 4 skin drops, and so to complete one is going to take some time. Anybody else tried it? We've tried it probably all tried it before with the Mana Core, but it's a good amount of tokens, and if you got Inferno Dragons, and Fangs, it's not really a big deal. It's like I said, less than an hour of damage.
I might try it. My mana cores need refits.
No, this doesn't give the Mana Core. This is the last time we saw those was Mana Cores. But this is for Bat Rays.
My Razor Tails. I don't have Bat Rays.
Okay, Bat Rays rule. I mean, I don't even know how else to say it. Bat Rays are the way to go. I mean, you can do the SSRBs and get a ton of uranium for like 6 minutes of damage on the map. And that's the way to go. Completely dwarf the Prototype Seeker. You're not going to get them all out for 18 days worth of build tokens, but all in all, I think the Bat Ray is the far superior ship in the game as far as the totality of it. So,
I usually pick the wrong one.
Yeah. No, a lot of people that had insider knowledge were picking the wrong one. So yeah, I can understand why. Not that you do, but all the people that seem to, they were all picking the Razortail. And the Bat Ray at the end of the day, I think, is the better haul, at least so far. Maybe they're going to do something in the last raid, but at this point, I have both, so I'm all happy with that. So I guess we can move on. Dr. Death, one more slide. Okay, yeah, the base race. I'm not sure if you guys missed that. Before, the Mastery had 10 rounds, allowing you to get 10 one-day structure tokens and 10 3-day defense platform structure or build tokens. This has been reduced to 3. If you have everything upgraded, all you need to do is the mastery price. But and this is controversially limited to tier 6 garrison halls. So icebreakers or monoliths with no zealoses in it. So it's a little less sexy without the 10 mastery rounds. I'm still not certain how people are going to get their shipyards done. Because 3 days doesn't really help them that much.
No, it don't.
Yep.
Yeah, I probably won't do this one. I have no desire to do 10 rounds of anything.
No. Before it was 10 rounds. Now it's just 3.
I have no desire to do 3.
Okay, well, you
Probably.
know. But before the point I was trying to make is you could get 10 days of structure build tokens, and if you stockpiled some others, if you had previously stockpiled other ones, it would allow you to upgrade your shipyard without having to coin it or spend much downtime. So I'm hoping for a TLC that comes out that we've seen before with like 7 and 12 day structure build tokens. But they did have a LTO limited time offer for 300 gold. You could upgrade it.
I saw that one.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's move on to the next one. See how much more we got. Turn the tides. Yeah, do this one. Bat raise for the win. It's almost amusing. These are some of the old targets that we're used to seeing that we did with Hellrace. And you get what is it? 10 days of prototype seeker tokens. Yeah, it's one thing, but you get for not a lot of time, and it's sort of just tear through them with bat rays. Is 5 agility system 4s, 5 hydraulic resistors, and I'm not sure how many people need Gale 3s at this point, but it's amusing with bat rays. It's just tear through them. You could auto them probably for half an hour of damage. I'm not sure any adjustments that they've done to make the razor tails effective, but I just did it with my bat rays, and it was sort of amusing how easy it was. So,
You didn't throw Gale Defense 4s in there.
Yeah, because this is a retread. I'm going to take you off of Present Dr. Death, and I am going to post a link in case anybody would like to join the after show, or right before we go to the after show. And again, I think I would share the share this link, just this particular show, with people in your alliance that are wondering what's going to come up with tier 8, and it's probably easier to watch what their Q&A went this way as opposed to other ways. So besides George just mouthing off at times. So the link is there in case anybody would like to join us. Does anybody have any parting words or anything else? Ben's joined us. Do you have any? Hey, Ben.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Parting
Oh,
words.
pretty good.
We were waiting for you.
Yeah.
I prepared a soliloquy.
Yeah.
So, you got anything to add, Ben, before we go to the after show?
Yeah, they are going to be working on a target for the Proto Apollo.
They're going to be working, or they might work on one.
Well, I have a message on Discord from robot. That they want to work on it. They just need to budget the time in, and it's going to be an arm of the SSRB.
Well, that would
Yeah,
make
I
sense.
mean, I've known that for. I mean, it's the fact that I brought up on the show is that they haven't released that SSRB like right before that, before the release of the Proto Apollo. So I was questioning whether they really want to, because that's when they would have got people to coin it, and that's sort of the tricky part of the whole thing. Yeah, I'm just not sure what their thoughts are on that, because it seems like it's more difficult to design a target than it used to be, because it used to seem we have much more diversity of targets than we do at this point. But who knows? Maybe we're better at finding the bugs than we were years ago. The little undocumented features associated with each target. I'm not sure, but yeah, we get less targets than we did historically. So, yeah, it's not a surprise to me. I mean, that's why I've been harping on the show about it. That I'm not building Proto Apollos. I don't see that they think there's a future for it. The only future I think is potentially some TLCs. But now that we're winding down on the skirmish raid, usually the bulk of the skirmish stuff happens, or the bulk of the TLCs is associated with the raid cycle that we just left. So, yeah, I'm not sure what to say about that. And Mike, hey, have anything before we go off air?
Nah,
Okay.
I don't.
And Ben, do you have any response to what I was?
No, I just wanted to follow up with you on the
Okay.
Apollo thing, though.
Okay.
Because I know
Alrighty.
how much you love it.
Yeah. I've it's a good time to rank them up, everybody. So I'm not sure what you're gonna do with them, because it's 80 days of build time for them.
Proto Apollos? They don't rank so easy.
No, they don't. And yeah, there's 80 days of build time associated with them. So they either need to provide a vision for them or not. And I'm guessing at this point not, because I don't know. The proto sense, none of the protos really have a home at this point. Some of the stuff can be done with hydras just as easily as the proto sense. The bat ray overcame the prototide, and
Prototype's still pretty nice. I mean, still like
well, not if
you can still throw them into 57s and get uranium pretty quick, and
yeah, but you can throw them in SSRB and
that too. Yeah, if you got a friend.
Well, bat ray. You could throw bat rays in the
Absolutely, that's correct.
Yeah. So more my issue deals with the 80 days of build time, and they haven't put it out any TLCs or anything else like that makes them affordable to build relative to building everything else, and then ranking them up is a pain in the ass. Yeah.
Mine are sitting with a thud on them and sitting in the base with one time through a VXP target. And that's it. I saw the repair time. I said, no, sorry.
Yeah. All right. Well, I am going to.
We should throw out one quick announcement for people who don't go on the forums. Kixeye had pulled the FM40 targets because something was wonky in them.
We talked about this at the beginning of the show. The 40s, don't go on the 40s, and don't go in the.
Well, no, they pulled them. Kixeye put up an announcement. They pulled the 40s off the map.
Yeah. It's been above the game for the last 2 days.
Okay.
Mega Man
level 40 targets
screwed up.
Full for the Forsaken Edition while the team investigates an issue. That's been above your game for the last couple days. So yeah. Yeah.
I took Skyfires into Mega Mayhem this morning and come out with a couple hours damage.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's the same issue is infecting both of them. So, alrighty. Well, I guess let's go to the after show in case anybody would like to join. And thanks everybody for showing up. And we'll see you on Friday. I'm trying to think what the big news is going to be on Friday. I just don't. I guess we never know, but I don't see anything crazy on the horizon at this point.
Stuff could happen.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, same VXP weekend. Yeah, yada yada. So I'm doing a good job promoting the Friday show here because I don't see anything happening, but it may. But thanks everybody for showing up in chat and watching live, and especially everybody on the panel. And see y'all Friday.
Night, everyone.
All right,
Later,
everybody.
everyone.
Later,
Ah.
people.